Hey guys, welcome to another ride in the Strugglebus, where every wheel's an empty triangle. Today I've got another game review for you. This is from one of my more recent Patreon subscribers. Very interesting game, and so I just wanted to share it with you guys. There's a really big fight that happens in this game, and I often struggle to go over the concepts of fights. And I thought I was going to have trouble with this one. And you'll see, I struggle with it a little bit, but then find some good stuff to go over, and things kind of fall in place. We're going to be talking a lot about liberties and cuts, which are really like the two important things when it comes to fighting, and that comes up here. And so again, this turns into a pretty complicated fight. There's a lot of stuff going on. This fight is pretty indicative of what I see from double digit Q fights, where it just kind of spreads everywhere and it gets chaotic, and we don't really know what to do. But we can simplify things again if we focus on cuts and liberties. And then the trickier thing is figuring out who's ahead in the fight from a strength perspective, and that dictates if we can play aggressive moves or if we have to play defensive moves. And that's where things really fell apart a little bit, was failing to recognize if we should have been aggressive or defensive in this. But anyway, hope you guys enjoy this review. I thought it was a very interesting one, so I wanted to share it with you guys. So anyway, let's get into the review. Hello, Nick, and welcome to your first Patreon review. And you didn't make this one easy on me. Would have liked to have seen maybe an easier game to go over, but hey, I get it. You throw the complicated ones at me, that's okay. It's my job to take a look at all of them. But yeah, this one's a pretty tricky game. So the fight itself, obviously we get some good fighting at the ends, will be a little trickier to go over. I'll do my best with it. I've mentioned to many other people that often I struggle with going over fighting concepts. Fighting's come, fortunately, it came, somewhat intuitively to me. And so since it's not a skill that like I had to like brute force myself way, through to figure it out and learn the concepts of, I think I don't really explain it as well as some of the other things, but I've learned some tricks to get through explaining it. So anyway, let's see how we got there. Anyway, so this is a 2-stone handicap game, which really doesn't change too much in terms of what we're looking to do. So we are black in this one, and white immediately approaches. That's fine, and we cover this way. So just it's worth going over. These decisions don't matter too much. Generally what we do in Fuseki isn't really going to make or break how the game turns out. It's really the middle game that gets us there, but it's still important to know some of the basic stuff. So here we have the decision between playing A or B. And the difference between the two is basically how much are you willing to give your opponent so that you can get Sente. Okay, if you just want your opponent to get as little as possible, then we play the Hane. They extend, we extend, they extend, we extend, they extend, we extend. One more time because we don't want to get hit on the Hane, or Hane in the head of 3. And the reason that another reason that we're willing to do this is if our opponent wants to push from behind on the second line, you let them. You let them go, all the way across the board if they are willing to. In this case, your opponent is not going to be willing to, right? After here, they're going to stop because they're alive enough in the corner. And so now they get to take their Sente. And this is still considered even, right? This is a joseki. It's considered even. White gets some points in the corner. Black gets some really good influence, but white gets Sente out of it, and black was who had the stone there to begin with. So there are some concessions being made by white, invading a corner where there was already a stone and getting Sente out of it. So anyway, this is the variation to play if you don't care about retaining Sente and you want to keep white low. If you do want Sente, because Sente is really important to you, then you extend. And white will either play here, and then you Tanuki, or white will play here, you Hane once, they Hane, and now you Tanuki. If you are not going to Tanuki from right here, then you should, instead of extending, you should Hane. Okay? And so in this game, right, we did the Hane, they Haned, and then we extended, they extended, we extended, and then they tanukied. So, but if you compare this to, was it here? Nope, I guess it would be here. So if you compare the game to this, right? Actually, it's the same. It's the same number of points. Here, white gets to tanuki, and here white gets to tanuki. And you can see the difference is that this stone is at E17 instead of E18, and I mean, it's a small difference. Look, we're not talking about a huge amount of points here, but we're giving white more points than we need to when we go this way. Anyway, just a small thing worth going over. So then white approaches, we pincer. Nothing wrong with this decision. I like it. I'm glad to see that at 11K you know this correct variation. I'll leave a question for you. Do you know why you can't play this move here? Actually, I'm curious if you even knew that you couldn't play this move here, because I just realized that on the top side you also extended a second time. So I'm curious if you know about this little mistake here. So let me know if you'd actually. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you why, just in case you don't know it. Because so let's back up. So we are well aware of this variation, right? Where white jumps into 3/3, we cover, we hane, and then we can hane here, right? They hane. This is, I just showed this at the top, right? So we are familiar with this one, right? Again, we go here, white tanukis, everybody's happy. And so a very common mistake is white approaches, we pincer, they jump in, we block, they extend, we hane. Because you can hane here, right? Unfortunately, we can't anymore because this stone right here changes everything. Normally, this cut at A is not a big deal. Okay, normally we can easily handle that, but this white stone changes that. Now this cut is quite severe. So white pulls back instead of haneing under. White pulls back here, and then when black blocks, now white can cut. And at this point in time, once this cut is made, black cannot save both of these groups. Black has to sacrifice one of these, and obviously black is going to choose to sacrifice A, right? If black sacrifices a 3 stones, the game's completely over. So here, right, if black Ataris and then protects here, now this stone's dead. And yeah, black's lost this stone, but white's gotten a much bigger corner than white should have gotten here. Okay, and if black wants to be a little silly and try to save it this way, now these 3 stones are dead, and that's just terrible. So anyway, in case you didn't know that, it's important to know that. So when we come over here, maybe it's possible you just like doing the double extension and you didn't know it, but either way, when we pincer, we are not allowed to hane here, so this is fine. White pulled back, right? Okay, so yeah, we do. This is the normal variation. And then I'll caution you on this move as well. This is also not a big mistake, but I'll tell you, as white, I'm always happy when my opponent plays this move, and the reason is that a move like this becomes really difficult to deal with later in the game, not right now, but later, because how does white cover this? It gets tricky. White goes here, then black extends, white blocks. Now black plays here, white needs to do this, and boy does this look bad, right? Like this looks problematic, so white really can't cover that way. So this is just an annoying stone to answer, right? And so do we answer this way? Maybe, right? This, it seems logical. The issue is when we extend here, now that Aji's gone, okay? So now if black does this, we can cover because this is no big deal. We can just cover here or probably just cover here and be okay, right? So, so when we push here, we lose that Aji, okay? And then we push here, which is a little worse because this isn't Sente, and white could even look at potentially haneing here, and so we're not getting a lot out of these exchanges. And in this case, white just decided, hey, this isn't Sente, and I'm going to tanuki, which was pretty solid on your opponent, right? So here we kick, extend, seems reasonable. white extends, we approach, that is fine. And then here, I guess I'll say this is fine. I would have probably gone here or here. The reason being there's really no potential here, because white has a third line stone over here. It's gonna be hard for you to develop in here. It's gonna be hard for him to develop in here. So I don't think I would have approached on that side, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. But then white's saying, hey, I want the left side, or the bottom side here, but it really isn't that big. So at this point, I would just jump into the corner. Okay. This is the other option. We can do this. You jumped out, and that's fine. White hanes, we hane, and then white tanukis. And so the question now is, was this move sente, and we feel like we have a good follow-up, or should we be doing something with this stone? And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know the answer to this. I don't know the answer to this. We can also look at if we should be playing the Atari here. There are options, right? So we can look at following up this stone, which normally is the shoulder hit. We can look at taking this Atari, I guess we're here now. We could look at the shoulder hit. We can look at the Atari. We can look at going after this stone, in which case I would probably counter pincer, either here or here. There's lots of options on this board. You came back over here, and again, the shape move here, or at least the joseki, which I'm not sure really fits anymore because there are all these stones on the left, but I would still play here. I still like this as a way to cover, because now if white goes this way, we've got this Atari, and then we can probably just come back here, and this is some really fantastic influence. We can probably also leave this here and go after this stone, because this really isn't that painful with us having this liberty here. If the J3 liberty was gone, I wouldn't like this too much, but it's fine as is. This move, not the end of the world. These are pretty small mistakes. And so now we get like the real big question of which way are we going to connect? Do we care about influence? Do we care about the corner? And I think this game we care about influence. We have a lot of influence on this board. We've got this on the bottom. We've got this on the top. We've got this nice fourth line stone here. So I would be consistent and connect on top. I forget which way you went. You connected on the side. I would have connected on top. Even with this, there's still Aji in this corner. We can probably just jump in right now. We still have this. So it's not that big of a deal to give this stone up to get the influence on the outside. Well, anyway. But this is fun because this is where the fight starts, right? This is where we kind of get this fight that oozes across the board. Here, I definitely would be looking at this. Yes, there are two cuts, okay? But I think we can look at these three stones as being strong enough to handle this. So that if white cuts here, we can connect here. And then white kind of looks like they're in trouble here, right? So I don't think white can get away with this. And if white wants to play here, and then we play here, it's a similar thing. Or actually, we might even just still be, like, this still just might kill white right here. Maybe not, because white can do something like this. But this doesn't look too good for white. Like I said, because of the strength of these three stones, I think we can endure this. And so, this is the type of move where I would spend a good amount of time reading this out and looking at it, but my intuition is absolutely to play this hane here, or this block. And I would read from here, right? And I'd go, do I see a way that I completely fall apart? And if the answer is no, then I'm just playing this move. I just have to assume that this is going to be the move to work. So letting white push through here is some trouble. With that said, we're getting really good strength. This stone's a little lonely. We might be able to do something with that later. So this is okay. So we push. White recognizes that their corner is not in the greatest of shape. We take this turn. I like this turn. I like the decision here. White goes here, and we play this. This seems fine. And then white takes the stone here. So the question now is, are we going to treat this as sente, or are we going to tsunuki from this? We still have this stone over here that we really haven't dealt with. But I do think playing another stone over here is a reasonable thing to do. I just don't think this is reasonable. There's no really good follow-up for this move. So if white ignores it, and even just as something as simple as this, do we have a good follow-up for this? I'm unsure of the answer on that, right? More importantly, do we have a good answer for this? And I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure that we have a good answer for this. I don't know. I don't think white's going to be in too much trouble here, but we potentially might be. Of course, this is going to lead to a fight in an area that we've got a lot of influence. So we might be okay, but it is definitely going to be tricky. White Atari from this side, I don't like it. But either way, I would not have played here. I would have looked at this shape move or just playing here. I tend to like this move a lot. I don't think this is necessarily correct here because of the cut that can be made here. But looking at the connection to here, it's pretty good because if white tries to punch through, we have a net because we've got these three stones here. So often a shape point that I like. But yeah, I don't like this. This seems more dangerous than it needs to be. So of course, again, white played here. But so as another example as to why I don't like this move. Say we had just played here and our opponent played here. Would we really play this move right now? I don't think so. So if we reverse the order on it, it shows that it doesn't really work too well. Anyway, so now white plays here. This kind of seems like an overplay to me because we can take this Atari, which is what you did. And then I would just connect here. I would just connect. White's going to be in a lot of trouble now because this group is insanely strong. Just, it's so strong. This group's really strong. This group's really strong. And now, unlike the situation that I didn't like over here, where white's getting out ahead of us, if we had played here, white isn't ahead of us right now, right? So if white does something like this, we're the ones who can stay ahead of it. And also, it's just, is this group potentially dead now? I don't know, right? So by playing here, it creates potential cuts that I'm just not sure we need. Like, white could even, just potentially get out of a tricky situation like this, and then just connect up. This is still good for us, but it would have been, white doesn't have as easy of an escape here, okay? Because if white tries to connect, we can do this, which throws an Atari here, right? So now what does white try this, and we capture, and white tries this, and we do this, and everything just looks like it kind of falls apart because the shape's really bad for white here. Anyway, okay. So a lot of decisions got made before we got into this fight and led into this fight. And so from here on out, things get complicated. It's going to be a little tricky for me to comment through, but I will try my best. Certainly showed some things here, and unfortunately, none of this, like, there's no real basic rule to fall back on this. The two basic rules that are real important. You can see the list on the side of the screen there for my basics, right? The two rules that are most important here are protecting your cuts and also attacking your opponent's cuts, and then also I guess actually never mind, there is no other rule for it, but the other important thing is how important your liberties are. Liberties are very important. I refer to them as the currency of fights. It's a phrase that a teacher of mine once used. I really like that. Liberties are the currency of fights, and so if you have more liberties than your opponent does, you terrible pun here, but you're more liberty to do what you want, right? You don't have to worry about playing the aggressive moves and leaving a weakness behind because you've got more liberties, and so you can get away with that. You can play the more aggressive moves. As where if your opponent has fewer liberties, they need to be a little more careful with what they do. They can't leave as many cuts behind. they can't play those aggressive moves. They have to play a little more defensively, so you can get the upper hand really, really quick. Anyway, so fight proper starts. We Atari, white extends. We Atari, white extends. We jump here. So just for again, that going over the fighting stuff is hard. So we're gonna start right here to explain how difficult the fighting stuff is. But when I see this move, so okay, so we don't want to get surrounded, right? And there are a lot of moves we can consider here. We can probably consider like any of these moves, right? Or maybe even this and this and this. And so it's like, what do we choose here? And really the answer to that question comes down to, are we attacking or are we defending? If we're running for our lives and we're like, oh crap, we're getting surrounded, then you need to play a move like this, right? That's as far away from your opponent's stones as possible. That has a direct line of, that can connect to many of your stones, right? This can't get cut. And so if you need to get out, then that's what we look at. If we want to attack, we're looking at a move like this, or this, or this, right? We want to be closer to this group of 3 stones that's running and make it so it's tougher for white to get away here. So the question is, are we attacking or are we defending? And I look at this situation and I go, hey, where's white running? Is he running that way towards our wall? Is he running this way towards that wall? Kind of looks like white should be defending himself. Who has more liberties here? White has 1, 2, 3. We have about 10,000, give or take, like 9,995 or so. We should be the ones who we should be attacking here. And so I would be looking at a move like this. This can be cut, but if white cuts us, we're cutting white, and white can't endure that cut because we have more liberties. So we can do the aggressive moves like this because we have more liberties than they do. So if white wants to do something like this, that's fine. White's going to lose this game because of it, because we are so much stronger. So this is an example of where liberties matter. What's white going to do now? Black has so many liberties here. There's no way we're going to lose this group before we're able to capture this one. Okay, so because of that, white can't cut here. White needs to lean on our strength to get out, right? Do something like this. But this is good for us because look what's happening here. Look at how we're naturally surrounding an area here. And look at what white's getting. Nothing. White's getting 0 points here. Okay. When we play this move, it kind of looks like we're running away. Right? We're not really pressuring white. White can just go here. And now, are we just going to keep on going? And then white's like, well, that's cool. Great. Now white's nice and strong. Black's nice and strong. But we were already strong to begin with, and white wasn't. And so this is just a little too passive of a move. And then white does this. Yeah, I'm going to connect. You're going to connect too. The reason I'm going to connect is if we let this go, then these 3 stones are immediately alive, and we cannot let those stones be alive. Also, this feels like sensei. But then white's like, no, it's not sensei. But this move seems really big. It seems really big to me. It's going to start breaking the bottom. I don't think white can play here because, like, what does white do? Like, if this happens, then this is really bad. And so, does white descend? But then we get this. And does white have to do this? I don't know. I think white's dead here, right? This group's kind of in trouble now. So I think if we do this, it's almost like this happens, right? And now white needs to play a move like this. So we're going to get this in sensei. And I know it's hard to read this, right? But like, this is just here. This move is just here. And the fact that, it's just white's shape is too weak here. White really needed to do this. And then we could look at it like this and just be in really good shape now. The fact that white's nuking is more dangerous, but these 3 stones are weak. I think this Atari was bad for white, and white needed to look at this. But of course, I don't know, it's tough. It's tough, but if we do this, there's a lot going on here. White's complicated. It goes complicated. It goes a hard game. We already know this. But anyway, white does this. We connect and needs new piece. You'd have to work real hard to justify any other move than this on the board right now. But we do this. You want to know what though? If you're gonna play a move, this is it. That or this. I like this. Make white run this way, and then see if we can naturally get a wall here. Of course, this group, might go under attack. So if you want to go this way, perfectly fine move. Here, I would probably Hane. This because the old liberty thing. So I guess where all this fight's gonna, where all the advice for this fight is going to come is going to be liberty based. And yeah, now that I've actually dove into it, there's plenty to point out here because this group has 3 liberties, right? 1, 2, 3. So white can't Atari us. And so that's really good to know. That's really important because we're not worried about this because the ladder works, all right? And we're not worried about this because we've got the double Atari. We're not worried about this because we've got this. And so there's no way for white to really punish this. If white wants to come here, we can even do this, and then white has to come back and connect. But I don't know what white's getting out of this other than just living. And now all of a sudden, looks like we've got about 20 points here. And again, white's going to struggle just to live and just to get any number of points. And we still have this. This move is still here. And this is really a devastating move. But anyway, so we play here. It's just a little slow. We actually don't care about the h6 stone, right? And so now white gets to play something like this. What would white play? White played here. We got to Hane this again. And you did Hane. You did Hane this, so that's good. And then white played here. And where'd you play? You played here. For whatever reason, this is what's speaking to me is this move. And I know it's really not that big of a difference between these two, but this one just feels better. I don't know if I can articulate why. This is like the type of fighting that I have trouble explaining. Like, why am I saying that this move is better than this move? And that's a good question. Let's see if I can come up with why. So if white goes here, and then it's Atari. Yeah, no, we don't care about this Atari, right? Like, that's not an issue. No. Still don't like it. I prefer this. But let's see what this turns into. He did do this. We blocked. He Atari'd from this side. Seems a little suspect. And then he played here. And then he did this. Yeah, I mean, is it as simple? It could just be as simple as it leaves this cut. Maybe that's why I don't like it, right? And because going here, there is no cut because we get this Atari, and then we can fix. And if white wants to do this, that's fine because we actually don't care about this stone, especially now that we're getting like 30 points on the side. But so leaving this just, yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. I would probably take the turn and really look at this cut. I would really read this cut. It looks like it works, right? Because if this happens, white needs to do this. But this is all sorts of terrible for white, because if white, does this, then all of a sudden these stones die, right? And so as white's doing this, we still have this move, right? We've got this double Atari. So I would be looking at this cut again, because liberties matter, right? We played this move. We've got 4 liberties. White has 4 liberties as well. But when we play this, white only has 3 liberties now, and while we only have 3, white can't stop us from just running out. So what else? So what happens now? So now we jump out. So again, we're playing like we are the ones who are being attacked. And I still don't think that's the case. I think we still should be the aggressors here. So yeah, so I'm seeing that with this move and this move are showing me that maybe you're looking at the situation and it's just a tough, scary fight, and so you just want to make sure you don't die. And let me know if that's your play style, because there are some players who, when they get into fights, like their number one goal is don't die, and that shouldn't be your number one goal. I know that sounds crazy, but you need to recognize when you're the aggressor, when you're the one who can attack here. If they're the ones who need to defend themselves, you need to be playing the aggressive moves. They need to be playing the defensive moves. Here, I think, this fight's potentially slipping away from us because we're playing like we're defending ourselves. White's still in a lot of trouble here. This is going to be a really difficult game for White. So this still looks good for Black because White has a weak group here, a weak group here. So there's a lot going on. Okay. So now White's looking to save this. This should be a pretty easy move. I'm pretty sure you played here, just to keep the groups separated. White connected, and here, so I guess I lied. I can totally go over stuff. Look at this. Okay, so this group, these three stones right here, where are they running? Where can they possibly go? They can go this way. Guess who's over there? Happy Wall of Death. That wall's name now is Happy Wall of Death. White does not want to go that way. Like you are pushing White towards your much taller, much more muscular friend. I guess I can't speak for you. I can speak for me. I'm not a big guy. So if like I was in a fight, like I would go get my like big guys and like kind of push the people towards them. That's what this is. Okay. So here, White is already running towards your friends, which is really good for us. I would just be looking at doing this. Make sure that we are fully connected and that White is just completely screwed here. There is a cut here that White needs to fix, elsewhere just everything looks terrible for White here. This is the type of situation where if I'm White on this board, I probably just resign. This game looks completely unwinnable at this point in time. But by doing this, like, again, this still looks fine for Black. Black still looks ahead here. But when White pushes through here, it gets a little tougher. Right? Because now when White plays here, like, G5 looks important. And so do we have to play this right now? And it looks to be a little awkward, especially, I don't know. Maybe it's still just fine. It's probably still just fine. But now we're getting to the point where we might be running out of eyes, and it might become a liberty race. And I don't know. I don't like how this looks because I don't know who wins this fight now. And obviously, if your group dies, this game's over, right? And we never needed to get here. We could have just blocked because. So let's back this up. Let's back this up even more. Okay. When we get in a fight or we're attacking, we'll back it up. When we're attacking, because let's be real here, we were attacking it. Your goal should not be to kill stones or to kill groups. If it happens, fantastic. But if it doesn't happen, that's okay, just as long as you get profit somewhere. So here's the thing, okay? When I look at this and I go, well, where's our profit? Our profit, it could just be as simple as this group is weak. And if Black is going to save their B group, right, it's going to be in Gote. And so at the end of all of this, we're going to be able to slap a stone here, and then all these stones are dead. And then the game's just over. That can be our profit, okay? So just as long as we stay strong, we're going to be okay here. We don't need to kill. But more importantly, so we play, let me take these off, okay? So, heck on. Stop with the things. Take you off. Why is the one there? Oh, the one's there because that's where I played. Right. So if we play here, where's white going to go? We're worried about him doing this? Well, then we just cut. And these two stones die. And this group is still weak, and this group's still weak. And if white recognizes that and does something like this, now we can... We've got this cut that maybe we care about, but probably not, because we can just do this. And now these group, like, does he have the time to do this? I don't think so. I don't think he has the time to do this. And if white makes a mistake and does something like this, and doesn't even threaten the cut, it's like, now we can do a move like this, and they're fully surrounded. So, but by doing this, I think, ironically, we're being a little too aggressive here. And also from a shape standpoint, when white plays this, we have to be concerned about the two by the cuts. We're leaving too many cuts behind. Okay, but white does this, and yeah, it's like now all of a sudden, it just feels tough. Just feels tough. Fortunately, this is still fine because we have this. Is it though? Because this is an Atari, and this is an Atari. This doesn't look good for us. This doesn't look good. It's getting too complicated. It's getting too complicated, and it was just this. Stay connected, and we're okay. Protect our cuts. That is one of our rules, right? Protect our cuts. And so this cut here just really needed to be protected. But we didn't, and we let white through. And so it just got more complicated than it needed to be. So white plays here. I like this move. And this move, there's no way I can like it. Just from a shape perspective. Like, yeah, just because of the empty triangle, but what is black to do here? I don't know what black is to do here. It's probably still just fall back on this now. Honestly, things are getting so hairy over there. I think I just want to do this. Do this, get alive, and just be done with it. But yeah, this empty triangle. Ugh. Yeah, that's tough. It's tough. I feel like we're still okay though, only because J4's there. Like J4 is our savior in all of this. Is the fact that it's there. So white does this. We block. They push through. You extend correctly. You extend again. They extend. You play this. This seems like a really good move, but man, things still look tough here. Because white can play this, which is what they do, which threatens to connect up to these stones. And so then, okay, so now we finally play this, and then you come back here. Oh, it's tough. It's tough because do we win this Liberty race over here? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure we do. We do this. If they go here, we have to block this. Here. I guess then so I guess it would have to be this. This is, yeah, it's getting complicated. We get an I here that's really helpful. No, because then we get this. Nope. So we'd have to block. See, I get the luxury of doing all this clicking, but like you can see how bad this is, right? Black has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 liberties, and 1 shared, and white has 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're probably okay. We are probably okay. Because yeah, my guess is we're okay here. That we're going to win this race. That's what it looks like to me. But still complicated stuff. It didn't need to be this complicated, but it looks like we are okay here. Okay. I think I would just Atari. But this will work fine. This will work fine. And yeah, here I would just take, be done with it, and then this game is over. But I think the game ended soon hereafter. Anyway, oh, because you took and he resigned. So yeah, I mean, tough fight, right? You made it through it. There were easier ways out, but you stuck with it. Showed some good fighting spirit, so I definitely like to see that. But yeah, this was an exciting one. So yeah, nice work with it. It was a very fun review. Thank you for sending me this one. I appreciate being challenged as well. You guys can't just keep on sending me easy ones. And boy, this one was not that. So anyway, thank you for joining the bus. I really appreciate it. I really do just enjoy interacting with everybody who watches the videos and the streams and whatnot. It makes me happy. That is all. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions with this. I went over a lot of stuff. Some of it was a little disjointed. Some of it was pretty well put together. But let me know if you have any questions with any of the stuff I went over, or if there's stuff that I didn't go over that you have questions with. Until then, thank you again. Thank you for your support. I appreciate it. Hopefully stick around for another month and we'll get you some more teaching games and some more video reviews. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your weekend, I guess. See you.